What Toto Wolff just spilled on Lewis Hamilton is breathtaking. Forget everything you believed you knew about Hamilton's disastrous debut at Ferrari, because the truth, as uncovered by the man who helped build his dynasty at Mercedes, is a whole lot more sinister. This is not just about speed. This is not just about results. This is personal. This is vicious. This is damning. It's not simply the story of a car that's gone too slow. It's the story of a 7-time world champion losing his touch, a legendary team losing its soul, and a dream project built to turn everything around, now teetering on the brink. Toto Wolff hasn't simply pointed fingers. He's pulled back the layers and exposed the fault lines, the brutal cultural disconnect, the broken rhythm, the missing synergy, the confusion festering inside Maranello that's quietly draining the fire from one of F1's greatest talents. And the most terrifying part? This is only the beginning of what was supposed to be Ferrari's triumphant new era. What's happening isn't a slow start. It's a crisis, a brutal reality check for Ferrari, a jarring awakening for Hamilton, and possibly the early unraveling of a once unshakable legacy. Because when someone who knows you in and out is openly wondering what's gone wrong, you listen. So let's break down each of the bombshell statements Toto Wolff just made: the car, the culture, the missing mojo, and what all that means for Hamilton's eventual future at Red. Do us a big favor, like this video, subscribe, and stick around until the end, because what's going on at Ferrari might not just decide a season. It could write the last paragraph of Lewis Hamilton's F1 career. What Wolff has just revealed is unvarnished, deeply personal, and quite frankly, breathtaking. When squarely confronted by Hamilton's disastrous Ferrari debut on the Bloomberg Hot Pursuit podcast, Toto was not discreet. No spin, no hype, a blistering 3-part critique of precisely what has gone wrong for his former star. And it begins with a word no Formula One great ever wants to hear: adaptation. "You don't unlearn how to drive that fast," Wolff said, firmly backing Hamilton's talent. In 2021, he was brilliant. Then the regulations changed and things got more complicated, but he was still driving at a phenomenally high level. But now, we're 10 races in, 0 wins, no podiums, and Hamilton sits 6th in the championship, visibly deflated. According to Wolff, it starts with the car. The SF-25 is not merely a new car. It's an entirely alien idea to the Mercedes DNA Hamilton honed over more than a decade. Aero balance to braking sensitivity, torque delivery to ride stability. Every subtlety of the Ferrari converses in a language that Lewis is only just beginning to learn how to interpret, and that's no easy job. Everybody takes time to adjust. A new car, an entirely different DNA of how it behaves, a new engineering team you've got to develop chemistry with, Wolff said. It's not the hardware, it's the systems, the environment, the chemistry. And right now, none of that's firing. But Wolff's second comment that raised eyebrows was culture. It's an Italian squad, and he's a British bloke parachuted in, Wolff said, 7 words that carry immense weight. Because while there's horsepower and carbon fiber, Formula One at its core is about people, it's communication, it's trust, it's rhythm. And right now, Hamilton has none of the above at Ferrari. At Mercedes, he was family. He knew the pulse of every department. He could walk into a room and read it like a book. His relationships weren't based on facts. They were based on deep trust. And that deep trust delivered world championships. At Ferrari, he's a guest in someone else's home. Respected? Absolutely. But genuinely plugged into the system? Not yet. And now, that lack of deep connection is bleeding onto the track. Stuttering feedback, muddled strategy, slight execution errors that cost precious tenths. And in Formula One, where milliseconds decide races, Ferrari are losing out not to speed, but to process. Then came Wolff's third and perhaps most honest observation: mojo. We've seen a bit of a pattern. He admitted Lewis at the beginning of the season needs to find his mojo, and the second half of the season has always been very strong, so don't ever write Lewis off. But here's the problem: it's already June, and that mojo still hasn't arrived. You can hear it in Hamilton's voice, you can see it in his body language, and you could feel it after the Canadian Grand Prix, where he sounded as defeated as we've heard him in years. When asked about Ferrari's upcoming upgrades, Hamilton replied, "We're really in need of an upgrade, and there's a lot of things that need to change for us to compete at the front." That wasn't frustration, that was fatigue. And when asked how much those upgrades might help, his answer was even blearer. "I don't know if it's much. I don't know how much it is. I don't think it's gonna be a lot. So it's just one of those years. Just one of those years." But this was not supposed to be one of those years. This was supposed to be the beginning of something iconic. The story of Formula One's most successful driver breathing life back into the sport's most legendary team. Instead, it's become a story of misalignment, disappointment, and a rising sense of dread. Fred Vaser, to his credit, is trying to calm the storm. He's confirmed that Ferrari are planning an upgrade before Silverstone, maybe even in time for Austria. "We will have an upgrade soon before the UK, and perhaps another one a bit later," he told the media. Then he added something that almost contradicted the optimism. "Honestly, today, I think there is much more in the execution and what you are getting from the car than in the potential of the car itself." Let that sink in. Ferrari's team boss is admitting that the problem isn't even necessarily the car. It's the ability to extract performance from it. And that's a terrifying admission, because if your tools are good, but your team can't use them properly, you're not going to win anything. For Hamilton, who has spent his career demanding precision, rhythm, and absolute clarity in execution, this is not just unacceptable, it's painful. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc, who knows the internal language and tempo of Ferrari, continues to deliver more consistent results. He isn't dominating, but he's extracting more from the same car. And in the eyes of the media, that contrast is damning, because it doesn't just look like a driving issue, it looks like a fit issue. And that's where the fear begins to grow, because the move to Ferrari was about more than 2025. It was about 2026, about a new generation of power units, about building a legacy that could rival even the Mercedes years. But now, with troubling reports surfacing about Ferrari's engine development for the new era and whispers that Mercedes might already be ahead, even the long-term dream is under threat. So what does this all mean? It means Ferrari isn't just under pressure to upgrade. They're under pressure to transform, to build a system around Hamilton that mirrors the trust, fluidity, and execution he once had at Mercedes, because right now, he's driving in the dark and the clock is ticking. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is just a rough patch, or is Lewis Hamilton discovering that he's joined a team that wasn't ready for him? One thing is certain: Ferrari needs to act fast, because if they don't bring not just performance, but belief, they risk wasting the final chapters of one of Formula One's greatest stories. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned, because what happens next might just determine whether Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari journey ends in triumph.